The Middle East is on edge, its cities gripped by uncertainty and fear as tensions reach a boiling point. Israel and Iran, two regional powerhouses with a long history of rivalry, are now locked in open conflict, their militaries mobilized and populations bracing for the unknown. What was once a shadowy, covert struggle has exploded into direct missile and drone attacks, lighting up the night sky and shattering any illusion of safety. The world watches anxiously, fearing that this could spiral into a much wider war, putting millions of innocent lives at risk and threatening to destabilize the entire region. Amid the chaos and destruction, one number stands out above all others: $725 million. That's the staggering cost every single day. This isn't just the price of missiles, jets, or military maneuvers, it's the cost of a nation forced to remain on constant alert, with its entire society mobilized for war. Businesses are shuttered, office buildings stand empty, and factories halt production. The economy, once focused on growth and innovation, pivots abruptly to survival mode. The financial toll is relentless and far-reaching, draining vital resources from schools, hospitals, and infrastructure projects that are now abandoned or delayed indefinitely. This daily bill is a stark, unyielding reminder of the war's unsustainable burden, piling up unpaid bills and straining every sector of society. Even with its strong and resilient economy, Israel faces a daunting question: how long can it endure this relentless financial hemorrhage before something has to give? The cost of war forces us to look beyond the daily headlines and breaking news, urging us to consider the deep, lasting damage that will linger long after the fighting stops. $725 million a day is more than just a statistic. It's a symbol of the conflict's intensity, translating abstract danger into a concrete, devastating metric. For ordinary families, this number is a shocking reality, one that trickles down into everyday life. Higher prices, lost jobs, and a sense of insecurity that touches everyone. It highlights the immense resources consumed by war, resources that could otherwise fuel scientific breakthroughs, educate the next generation, or build a brighter future for all. The longer the conflict drags on, the higher the price climbs, deepening the economic wounds and making recovery ever more difficult. With every passing day, the pressure on leaders to find a way out grows more urgent, as the world hopes for a resolution before the cost becomes truly unbearable. For years, Israel and Iran fought a shadow war, waging their battles in the shadows through proxies and covert strikes. This conflict was rarely out in the open, but its effects rippled across the Middle East, shaping the region's politics and security. Iran backed powerful groups like Hezbollah in Lebanon and Hamas in Gaza, providing them with weapons, training, and funding. These groups acted as Iran's outstretched arms, carrying out attacks and exerting influence without direct Iranian involvement. In response, Israel launched targeted operations, precision airstrikes, sabotage missions, and intelligence campaigns aimed at disrupting Iran's network and deterring further aggression. This indirect conflict maintained a tense balance, a fragile status quo that kept both sides from engaging in open warfare, even as violence simmered just below the surface. But in recent months, that delicate balance has been shattered. The world watched as the situation escalated rapidly, with each side testing the other's limits. Iran broke precedent by launching a direct missile and drone attack from its own territory, an unprecedented escalation that stunned observers and signaled a new phase in the conflict. Israel struck back with force, and for the first time, the world witnessed the two militaries clashing openly, no longer hiding behind proxies or deniable operations. The era of plausible deniability is over. Now, every action is visible, every strike is claimed, and the world can no longer pretend this is a distant or contained conflict. Global leaders scrambled to prevent a wider war, holding emergency meetings and urgent calls, fearing that a single misstep could ignite a chain reaction across the region. A direct conflict between these nations threatens to destabilize not just the Middle East, but global markets and energy supplies, sending shockwaves far beyond the battlefield. Diplomats around the world urged restraint, warning that the consequences of escalation could be catastrophic for millions of people. The buffer of proxies is gone. Now, capitals themselves are targets, and the threat of direct strikes on major cities is real. The risk of miscalculation is higher than ever, with both militaries on high alert and the margin for error razor thin. A stray missile, a misunderstood signal, or a single mistake could trigger all-out war, one that would be devastating for the entire region. The world is now in uncharted territory. The threat of regional conflict is no longer just a theory. It is a looming reality that could erupt at any moment. The stakes have never been clearer or more dangerous. The choices made in the coming days will shape the future of the Middle East, and perhaps the world. $725 million a day. This figure captures the war's economic shock to Israel. It covers more than ammunition, mobilizing reserves, constant air patrols, and high-tech interceptors. Estimates vary. Some put the daily cost lower, others higher, especially after major attacks. On quieter days, costs may drop to 200 or 300 million. After heavy barrages, they can top $1 billion. Israel's GDP is about $520 billion, so this daily burn is unsustainable. Imagine a family suddenly spending an extra $100 a day on security. It adds up fast. Such defense spending is rare for a developed nation not in total war. Modern warfare's technology drives costs sky high. Each interceptor missile can cost millions, and hundreds may be fired in a single night. The economic pressure mounts with every day the conflict continues. The bulk of Israel's wartime spending goes to direct military operations. Fighter jets, surveillance planes, and refueling tankers fly constant missions, each hour costing tens of thousands. Multiply that by hundreds of sorties and the numbers soar. Ground and naval forces on high alert add to the bill. Defensive systems like Iron Dome and David's Sling are technological marvels, but each interceptor is expensive. Repelling a single large-scale attack can cost hundreds of millions. Mobilizing reservists disrupts the workforce, especially in tech, and the government pays their salaries. The absence of these workers slows economic output and delays projects. Tourism collapses, foreign investment hesitates, and trade is disrupted. Consumer confidence drops, dragging down domestic spending. These indirect costs deepen the economic drag, compounding the direct military expenses. The financial strain threatens Israel's economic stability, casting a shadow over its bustling financial centers and the daily lives of its citizens. As the conflict drags on, the pressure on the economy intensifies, raising urgent questions about how long the country can endure these mounting costs. Sustaining hundreds of millions in daily costs forces tough choices. Money is diverted from education, healthcare, and infrastructure. Schools sit empty, hospital wards close, and vital construction projects are put on hold, all to fund the immediate demands of national defense. The government walks a tightrope, balancing war needs with citizens' futures. Every decision is scrutinized, as leaders debate how to protect the nation without sacrificing the well-being of future generations. National debt rises as Israel borrows more, risking credit downgrades and higher borrowing costs. The country's financial reputation is at stake, and each loan taken today could mean heavier burdens tomorrow. Aid from allies, especially the US, helps replenish military supplies but doesn't cover the full economic hit. While international support is crucial, it cannot fully offset the deep financial wounds inflicted by prolonged conflict. The long-term burden falls on taxpayers, who may face higher taxes and reduced services. Ordinary families feel the pinch as government resources are stretched thin, and the cost of living continues to rise. Economic growth could slow, and Israel's innovative spirit may suffer. The once thriving tech sector faces uncertainty, as investment slows and entrepreneurs worry about the future. The startup nation risks being weighed down by permanent defense costs. If resources are continually funneled into security, the creative energy that fueled Israel's rise as a tech powerhouse could be stifled. The scars of this conflict could last for generations. Beyond the immediate destruction, the economic and social impacts may linger, shaping the lives of children growing up amid uncertainty. Sooner or later, the bills must be paid. The nation will have to reckon with the true cost of war, both in financial terms and in the sacrifices made by its people. The economic consequences will shape Israel's future long after the fighting ends. Decisions made today will echo for decades, influencing everything from public services to private enterprise. The pressure to find a sustainable solution grows with every passing day. As leaders search for answers, the world watches to see if Israel's economy can withstand the strain and emerge resilient on the other side. Iran, too, pays a steep price. Years of sanctions have crippled its economy, causing inflation and high unemployment. Direct conflict with Israel strains already limited resources. Producing and launching drones and missiles is costly, diverting funds from basic needs. The Iranian people bear the brunt: currency devaluation, rising prices, and public discontent. Protests over economic hardship are common, fueled by frustration at government spending on war. Both Israel and Iran are bleeding resources, with their populations paying the price. The Israel-Iran conflict sends shockwaves far beyond the Middle East. Oil prices spike as fears of supply disruptions grip global markets. Higher fuel costs drive up prices for goods and services worldwide, fueling inflation. Key shipping lanes like the Strait of Hormuz and the Suez Canal are at risk, threatening global trade. Attacks on commercial shipping force companies to reroute, adding delays and costs. A wider war could draw in other nations, creating a humanitarian and economic catastrophe. Refugee crises, economic devastation, and political chaos would follow. The world watches anxiously, knowing the stakes are global. The ripple effects could destabilize the entire international order. Beyond the numbers lies the true cost: human suffering. Millions live in fear, with air raid sirens and bomb shelters part of daily life. Families are separated as reservists are called to the front, straining relationships and communities. Displacement is widespread. Many lose homes, jobs, and a sense of security. The psychological toll, especially on children, is immense. Rebuilding lives and communities will take years. Casualties are inevitable, each one a personal tragedy. Grief and loss fuel cycles of anger and retribution. The human cost is the most compelling reason to seek peace. The scars of war last far longer than any economic damage. The staggering cost of war can become its own argument for peace. As daily bills soar and debt mounts, leaders must confront the limits of military power. Economic ruin can force even the most hawkish to the negotiating table. History shows that exhausted treasuries and weary populations often drive conflict toward resolution. In this crisis, both Israel and Iran face mounting financial pain. This shared burden could open a door to diplomacy. The choice is stark: invest in destruction, or in the future of their people. The economic toll is a daily reminder of war's futility. The hope for peace, however faint, lies in the crushing weight of these costs. The path forward is difficult, but the price of inaction is even higher. Only by recognizing the true cost can leaders find the will to seek a lasting peace.